extraordinary era, though Italians and Portuguese played a part in the story. Each of the chapters in Rivers of Gold concerns itself with epoch-making events: the fall of Granada, the establishment of a united Spain, the expulsion of the Spanish Jews, Columbus's discovery of the New World, the Spanish conquests of the main Caribbean islands, the beginning of the colonization of the South American mainland at Darien, the early protests by Dominicans against the ill treatment of the Indians, the inception of the tireless work of Father Bartolomé de las Casas on behalf of the indigenous peoples, the coming of the black slave trade, the election of Charles V as Holy Roman Emperor, the conquest of Cuba by Diego Velázquez and of Mexico by Hernán Cortés, and the journey of Magellan around the world. I have travelled to many of the places mentioned in the book. Thus I have been to wild Madrigal de las Altas Torres, where Queen Isabel was born, and to the church of San Miguel in Segovia, where she was proclaimed queen. I have passed many happy times in Seville and in San Lucar de Barrameda, from where most ships bound for the Empire set off, and I have walked from Moguer to Palos, whence Columbus sailed for the first time. I know the monastery of La Rábida, where he was welcomed. I have been to Sos, where Fernando el Católico was born, and to Madrigalejo, where he died, and to Molins de Rey, where Bartolomé de las Casas talked so eloquently to Charles V. I know the bridge where Columbus was overtaken in January 1492 by a royal messenger on his way from Granada, and Santa Fe, where Columbus signed his contract with the Catholic kings. I have seen the house where Diego Velázquez was born in Cuellar, and the site of his tertulias in Santiago de Cuba. I have visited the house where Juan Ponce de León lived in what is now the Dominican Republic, and the bay where he first set foot in Puerto Rico. I know Cozumel, Isla Mujeres, and Veracruz, where Cortés and his predecessors landed, and I have travelled the road from there to Mexico/Tenochtitlan, the path taken by Cortés and his men in 1519. I have visited the Pearl Coast and Cartagena de Indias on the north coast of South America. I have seen the Cabo Gracias a Dios, where Columbus met the Maya merchants in 1502, and I know St. Anne's Bay, New Seville, where he spent a sad year in Jamaica in 1503. The chief exception to my journeys to the places concerned in this book is the first Spanish mainland colony of Darien in the Gulf of Urabá in the north of Colombia near the Panamanian border. That territory is in the hands of guerrillas whose interests do not, it would seem, include the need to assist the visiting historian. To compensate for this lacuna, though, I have held in my own hands the first edition of Amadis de Gaula, Saragossa, 1508, in the British Library. Chapters 33, 34, and 35 presented a serious difficulty, for I have already written a book about the conquest of Mexico. I can only hope that these 3 chapters will seem distilled and abbreviated wisdom. I have tried to summarize, not to repeat. Hugh Thomas, March the 17th, 2003. Book 1. Spain at the Crossroads. 1. This city is a wife whose husband is the hill. Stay a while here on the terrace of the Alhambra and look about you. This city is a wife whose husband is the hill. Girt she is by water and by flowers which glisten at her throat, ringed with streams, and behold the groves of trees which are the wedding guests, whose thirst is assuaged by the water channels. The Alhambra sits like a garland on Granada's brow, on which the stars are entwined, and the Alhambra, may God preserve